Hey everybody, I am going to talk about some of my largest stock positions and how they've done in my portfolio since I bought them. Something different, I haven't really revealed that before. Before we dive in, please take a minute and check out the link you see on your screen, fool.com/Frankel. Get the top 10 stocks to buy right now from the Motley Fool so you get a bunch more stock ideas. It's the best way to support this work I'm doing on YouTube, so check it out. Again, fool.com/Frankel. So let's dive right in. So let me show you my top 10 stock positions right now. I'll share my screen. Okay, so at any given point, I own anywhere between 40 and 45 stock positions in my portfolio, but it is a rather top-heavy group of stocks, meaning that about half of my assets are invested in my 10 largest positions. So I do have a bunch of speculative stocks in there. They're generally small positions. You'll see in a second as we go through my big ones, they are generally what people would consider boring stocks for the most part, maybe with the exception of number one. But for the most part, these are considered boring stocks. So I'll get right to it. Mercado Libre is my largest stock position, and by a significant margin now, just because it's performed really, really well lately. Ticker symbol is MELI, MELI. Since I bought it, my overall gain from my cost basis is about 89% for the stock. I initially bought it in 2020 when it crashed during the early days of the COVID pandemic. I want to say my cost basis is just over $1,000 per share, but I've added to it a few times since my initial investment. And I initially bought it just as a COVID play. I thought the market had overreacted, but then the performance, even as the world kind of moved on from the e-commerce boom that was created during the pandemic, has been very impressive. So I added to my position a few times, like I said, and it has become now my largest investment. The more I learn about the company, the more I like. Number two, Realty Income, ticker symbol is O. This is a total return, and it's because it's one of my oldest positions. I've generated about 151% total return. That sounds like a ton. It has really just matched the S&P's performance since I owned it. Realty Income was the first real estate investment trust I ever bought. I've added to it many times. And not only that, I automatically reinvest my dividends, which actually makes calculating my total return a little bit tougher when you consider additions plus reinvested dividends. But it's been a solid stock. The company makes money no matter what. Every quarter, its earnings are predictably boring, I like to say, and I kind of like that toward the top of my portfolio. Number three, and this is one that I never really planned on being one of my biggest investments. This is Dream Finders Homes, a home builder. Ticker symbol is DFH, and it's almost tripled since I bought it in my portfolio. And the real reason is I bought it in late 2022 when the real estate market really started to slow down terribly, and people thought home builders weren't going to do well, but home builders actually were a beneficiary of it. They benefited from higher home prices, and which led to big margins and low existing home inventory, which led to demand for new houses because they can control their inventory. So great environment for home builders over the past couple of years, and this stock has been a real winner in my portfolio. And the management's doing a great job. I don't think I'm going to sell any of it anytime soon. Number four in my portfolio is Berkshire Hathaway. Ticker symbol BRKB. I don't own the A shares. I don't have that kind of portfolio. Since I bought it, and I've added to it several times, my overall gain is about 79% from my cost basis. Not all these stocks are winners. You'll see as we go through. Berkshire has been a kind of cornerstone of my retirement account in particular for a long time, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. I'll continue to buy shares on any weakness as time goes on. Number five is General Motors, ticker symbol GM. And like I said, they're not all winners. This one's up 27%, but I've held it for several years. It has very much underperformed the market. But I do think they're just really starting to realize their EV potential. It's a very cheap stock, about 5 times earnings, believe it or not. And I think there's a lot of potential in not only EVs, but autonomous vehicles and in their legacy brands. They're a highly profitable automaker, and I think the brand loyalty is something that is overlooked in the market. They're buying back stock very aggressively, which I like as well. Number six, Pinterest, and this overall gain is 5%, and that's kind of misleading. It's a combination of buying at a great time right when the market crashed in 2020, which is when I bought about half my position, That part's up by about 100%. And then I bought more later at about $60 a share. That part's down about 50%. So when you combine everything, my overall gain in the stock is about 5%. It's a very unique platform. I think I love what they're doing with e-commerce, incorporating that into their platform. It's still in the early stages of monetization, and I think the new management team is doing a great job, and I can't wait to see where that one goes over the next few years. Number 7, one of my favorite real estate stocks to talk about, Empire State Realty Trust, ticker symbol is ESRT. Overall gain of 45% on the position. That's total return. I've only owned that one for about 4 years now. And for an office REIT during the pandemic, during a work from home boom, is pretty solid performance. They own the Empire State Building and a bunch of other assets in New York City. They also own the observatory on top of the Empire State Building, so they have a nice business that generates a lot of cash there. Very unique office REIT, and one that I think is a really, really well-run company that's worth a closer look if you're looking for some real estate exposure. Number 8, the worst performer in my top 10 is Howard Hughes Holdings, ticker symbol HHH. We got to hold ourselves accountable. This has been kind of dead money in my portfolio. Not only is it down 14%, but I've held it for about 9 years now. So it was performing a lot better before the pandemic hit, and before the work from home thing hit, and before interest rates started to rise. They own a lot of commercial assets in their communities, particularly office buildings, and just valuations have fallen through the floor. The value of their operating assets, meaning their commercial properties, is about 1/3 of what it was a few years ago. So that's why it's down like that. Right now, Bill Ackman's thinking of making a bid for the company. He's their largest shareholder by far. So I'm holding on to see what happens with that situation. But I got to say, my patience is not what it was with this company a few years ago. Number 9, Kinsale Capital Group. They're an insurance play. I'm actually just posting a separate video on Kinsale very soon after this one. It's almost tripled since I bought it, and I've only owned it for a couple years. It's been probably one of my quickest winners in my portfolio. They're a specialty insurance company, very, very profitable, and really, really unique business model. So I really like this one, and I'm going to hold on to it and hopefully add to it over time. And number 10, a lot of people might be surprised at this one because I've talked about Bank of America as my biggest bank stock. That is no longer the case. Wells Fargo, ticker symbol WFC. This was a COVID play for me, pure and simple. I bought it during the COVID crash. They kind of got hit by a perfect storm. The COVID crash happened, and Warren Buffett sold his investment. They were still dealing with their scandals and things like that. So it was trading at really a rock bottom valuation. It's more than doubled since I bought it. So it looks like I got it right a little bit. The new management team's doing a great job. This is a really powerful institution, and it's one that I plan on holding for a while. It has since become my largest bank stock. Worth pointing out that Bank of America is number 11. If I was going to add one more slide, that's what it would be. But Wells Fargo is my largest bank stock right now. I'd love to hear any thoughts you have on my top 10. I'll do my best to answer any questions you have individually. Tell me which ones you think I should get rid of, which ones you love, anything you have, and thanks for watching. I want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. The Motley Fool is a company that provides investing insight and stock recommendations for investors of all skill sets and risk levels. You all know how much I love researching new stocks and trying to find the next best investment. So I'm proud to partner with The Motley Fool to bring you 10 stock picks from the popular product Stock Advisor. Stock Advisor has beaten the market by nearly 5 times. So go to fool.com/Frankel to get your 10 stock picks now. The Motley Fool Stock Advisor returns are 767% as of July 5th, 2024, and are measured against the S&P 500 returns of 163% as of July 5th, 2024.